Today, we're going to talk about self awareness and what it means to be intentional and what it means to be self aware. And so, it's not always easy sometimes. I'm telling you guys the God's honest truth. I am not an early riser. So for me to be have done this for 17 days straight, okay, I am really, really excited. I'm really excited about what we're about to talk about today because you have to understand that self-awareness has to be intentional. Like you cannot not be intentional with self-awareness. Like then you're not self-aware. You have to be self-aware of your actions, your character, what makes you you, what causes you to act and interact in that way. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Jeanette. I want you guys to be so intentional. And that's what we're going to talk about, self-awareness and intent. Yesterday, we talked about self-reflection and the damage that power gives when we self-reflect, because power is you trying to control somebody else, a group, or an event. Self-awareness is you being intentional about your character. When you understand that mindset matters, it's all about you. Mindset matters is not about you trying to blame somebody else because this happened to you. No, ma'am. No, sir. That's not mindset. That's you trying to change your mind based off what you feel somebody else wants you to do or don't want you to do, and you want to find somebody to blame. Again, it does not mean that what happened to you is not true. That's not what that means. It does not mean that you're excusing the other person for the damage and the dysfunction that was done. What that means is that you're choosing to no longer allow them to control the outcome of your life. You're no longer allowing that situation to control how you act, how you move, how you talk, and how you speak. Self-awareness gives you the empowerment that you need to control those things that are dysfunctional. Because remember, our desire is to kill the virus because dysfunction is a virus. And so a lot of times you don't understand that because you're so unaware of self. And this today we're going to talk about being aware of self and what it means to be self-aware, what it means to have self-awareness. Good morning, Miss Smith. What it means to have all these things, because some of us don't get it. See, a lot of times you can point out everybody else's flaws, what they did, what you don't like about what they did, and you can get a whole bunch of people that's going to get in the group and agree with you. But nobody wants to talk about themselves. Now, we're not going to talk about me having a bad attitude. We're not going to talk about me being in a bad disposition. We're not going to talk about me and all these cycles I keep taking. We're not going to talk about me and my choices and my dysfunction, because no, 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 no. We're going to talk about somebody else, not today. We're going to talk about self-awareness of your character, of your behaviors, how you interact with others. Remember, dysfunction is abnormal behavior. So if you can't handle yourself in a group, if you can't handle yourself with a group of people, if you don't know how to be somewhere and people stop rolling their eyes when you enter the room, you have to understand you are the dysfunction. Remember, yesterday we talked about it being asymptomatic. And I kept saying it wrong yesterday, but asymptomatic, meaning you don't even realize that you're spewing dysfunction all over other people. All you know is that you're you, because you become numb to the dysfunction in your life. Self-awareness helps combat that dysfunction because you have to be intentional with your intent. You have to be intentional on how you're going to be a better you. And being intentional is not you blaming other people for you acting the way you act. Like that's unacceptable. That's unexcusable, because the thing we've been taught and we've been conditioned that it's okay to blame other people. And if you don't blame another person, then it's almost like people make you feel like you're dismissing their actions. That's not what I'm doing. But if I keep blaming you for something you did to me when I was 5 and now I'm 55, you control me. And that's the whole purpose about self-awareness. When you become aware, it removes the control of other people over your life. And because we've been conditioned with the master slave mindset, everybody, I'm trying to tell you, it's a condition of, well, this person, even though the dysfunction is so magnified, because they provide a little bit of something for me, I'm going to be okay with it because maybe I deserve this punishment. Maybe they may be right. And so what starts to happen is you become unaware of self. You have no clue. You don't know how to be intentional in your progress. You don't know how to be intentional in your forward movement. So what starts to happen is you just have been conditioned to say, you know what, this is it. This is all I got. Good morning. Good morning, Veronica. This is all I got. I don't have nothing else for you. So I'm just going to allow life. Remember, we learned about conscious decisions, right? We learned about situations and journeys. Most of us have been conditioned to live life as a situation, meaning there's one thing happening as we find ourselves in situations. I'm telling you, mindset teaches you how to live life as a journey. That's you traveling from one place to the next. I cannot help what certain situations. It's like if you've done everything you need to do, right, to get your car ready for a road trip, and you're driving and you don't see the nail in the road and you run over the nail in the road, right? Boom, and the tire blows. And you get out the car, of course you're angry, but you couldn't control that situation, right? You couldn't control that. You didn't see it. But when you're prepared to live life as a journey, I got a jack. I have a spare tire. I'm not going to let this one situation make me believe that I'm stuck here. And a lot of us, because we live our lives, good morning, Don, because we live our lives as situations and not journeys, we're not prepared. We just allow the situations to find us because we are unaware of self. Most of you don't even know what you don't like. Most of you don't even know what you really like. That's why a lot of times when women try to tell me that they know what type of man they want and what they want that man to do for them, but they're unaware of self, you don't even know what you want. You don't even want to date yourself. You don't even want to be by yourself because you are unaware of self. So if you don't understand your own character, how are you going to require somebody to love you in a way you don't even love yourself? When you are aware of self, you have a respect about who you are. You want your character to speak for itself. You want your character to be in such a way that people are not intimidated by your presence. That it's not like they don't want you there. They want you there. They want you to be there. So what starts to happen is you have to become more aware of self. And when you do that, it makes you become more intentional of your reaction, your responses, and your replies. Awareness of self empowers you to loose the bands of somebody else controlling you. Remember, empowerment, right? To empower means to become stronger and more confident. And I keep going back to that because some of you need to know what it means. You have become stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and your rights. The only way that's going to happen is you have to become self-aware. You must become aware of self. You cannot tell me you've been in power and you have no control over nothing. You can't control nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean you. Because remember, we walk and operate under the 4 pillars of mindset. That's acknowledgement, acceptance, embracing, and involving. If you can't operate under those 4 pillars because you don't understand, good morning, Miss Edith, good morning. If you can't operate under those 4 pillars, that means you can't, how are you going to be self-aware? How are you going to control what happens? Some of you have settled because you don't want to be aware of self. It's easier to blame somebody else for my disposition. It's so much easier to do that because that releases the weight off from me. Remember about a couple of days ago, we learned about the SMART goals, but we applied it to the way dysfunction operates. So you got to be specific. See, self-awareness makes you specific. A lot of times people always like a victim, right? In an abusive relationship. I mean, everybody she get always treat her like that. That she's a nice person and I don't know why they treat her like that. But at some point you got to realize that she's also attracted to that dysfunction. Because when you have no self-awareness, you will sabotage a good thing because you don't know what that feel like. You don't know what that means. You don't know how to operate in a purposeful relationship. So you target and you attract dysfunction because that's what you know. Birds of a feather flock together. There's a reason for that. We have like-mindedness. So there's something about that abuser that the person being abused is attracted to because dysfunction has conditioned you to believe that this is what a relationship is supposed to be because I am unaware of self. I remember speaking to a grown woman who was like, if he don't beat me, he don't love me. And I remember thinking to self, no, ma'am. I don't even understand that. And she meant it. This was not a joke. She meant it because she was unaware of her value. And because of the dysfunction she grew up in, she attached that to a relationship. She thought that was normal. Because I don't identify with myself. You can't tell me you know your worth and you have no self-awareness. They don't go hand in hand. You cannot tell me you don't know who you are and then turn around and say, I know I'm a child of God. No, you can't. Wrong answer. Because at some point you're going to realize these two don't operate well together. Dysfunction is going to always be there to sit down to do what? What does the virus of dysfunction do, guys? Remember, we learned that virus was sent to shut down the system and or network. Dysfunction is a virus, and it has to have a living host. And we have hosted and housed dysfunction for so long that's when we talked about being asymptomatic yesterday. Because it was kind of like you are passing that thing down from one person to the next, one person to the next, and you don't even get it. You don't even realize that you're building more prisons. Remember, prison is a place of confinement. Actually, it's a state of confinement, right? Because it's like right here and you can't see past all of that. Self-awareness, when you become self-aware, you begin to acknowledge and recognize the bars of confinement. What's keeping you locked and trapped in prison? Self-awareness gives you empowerment. See, sometimes self-denial creates power. Remember, we don't want power. We don't want that. We want it, but we don't want it. We want to be empowered because power gives you the ability to control people and or events. See, that's what dysfunction tell you want. Dysfunction say you want power, but dysfunction and your power will keep you confined in prison because you are unaware of self. Empowerment gives you control over you. Power gives you control over somebody else. And that's the problem. When you operate an authentic mindset, right? That has to be an intentional act. Only you can do. Nobody can change your mindset. You have to do that. See, you've been conditioned, right? So I have to keep doing something repetitiously in order for you to believe that. So because manipulation is such a craft, right? Manipulation is sent to create an outcome that someone else desires. That's what power does. That's what dysfunction does. It crafts you, right? Because, I grew up in church. Everybody know that. So we always talk about witchcraft and stuff like that. Remove the witch. Let's focus on the craft of a thing. Because when you craft something, that means you are trying to specifically design it out of its normal or regular appearance, right? So we have a craftsman special. That means somebody can take a house and make that thing look amazing. I've taken the wood from its natural state and crafted it into what I desire it to be, right? So that's what dysfunction is. Remember, I told you fear is the mastermind behind all of this, but dysfunction is a major manipulator. It crafts. Because remember, dysfunction is a virus and a virus duplicates something. So dysfunction wants you to have power, but still be imprisoned. Empowerment wants you to have control and power over self, right? And because you're battling those two, because we are unaware of self, we have no self-awareness, we don't realize we're operating in a cycle of confusion and foolery. So now as you begin to become more aware of self, it teaches you, listen, when I was unaware of self, right, people would tell me all the time, especially my cousins, your mouth, you could just say stuff. And I mean, you make people hurt bad. And I would stare at them like, I don't care, because I meant it. I authentically meant what I said. And so when I would have to apologize, I would say stuff like, I mean, I'm not sorry about what I said, but I'm sorry about how I said it. I shouldn't even apologize. But because I was unaware of self and I did not want to take the blame for my part. I didn't want to own my part. I didn't want to handle my part, right? All I wanted to do was, because dysfunction had told me everybody going to be against you. No matter what happened, Tisha, it's going to be your fault. So you might as well go ahead on and do it. See, that's dysfunction. If you're going to blame me for it, I'm going to do it. Y'all have heard people say that. That is dysfunction. If you're going to keep blaming me for it, then I'm going to go ahead on and do it. Yeah, no. Because that means they're controlling you. They're crafting the outcome that they desire. See, sometimes we focus so much on terms and we be like, that's witchcraft. No, forget all of that. Because that's just manipulation. The power, somebody else trying to control people. What do you think? That's literally what it is. Somebody trying to control somebody else. That's power. So when you think of this thing, if somebody or a situation can craft how you interact, react, and respond, they got power over you. And some of y'all don't want to believe that. Oh, they don't got. Yes, they do. If somebody can make your whole day change because they came in your presence and changed the atmosphere where you're at, If any, that's it, baby. They got you. They have power over you. And that's intentional because you gave it to them. Because you are unaware of self. When you become aware of self, you become intentional in your character. You become intentional in your verbiage. You become intentional in your actions. You become intentional in your words. You become intentional in your thoughts because now I am aware of self. Many of us are in the bars of prison with this dysfunction because of the words we spoke over ourselves, because of the words we spoke to ourselves, because of the words we spoke through ourselves. We have imprisoned not only us, but everything attached to us. Why? Because dysfunction is sent to tear down the system and or network. That is everything that's attached to it. Because I am unaware of self. I am unaware that I am so full of the virus of dysfunction that I've spread it across everything and everybody. That has shut down the system. Yesterday, I messaged everybody that the people that my platform where I teach my classes at, where I have my courses at, I had been trying to get on there, and the thing kept saying this network is full. Like there's nothing else. I don't forget how they did it, but they said the network was full, meaning we couldn't sign in since Saturday. We couldn't do anything. So I finally had read the email, and the owner of like the people who own the company was like, somebody had sent a virus so that they couldn't take any more clients. Nobody else could come in. And they are still now trying to figure out where the virus came from. Because clearly it had to mimic something else to get in there to shut down a whole system. And that's what dysfunction does for you. Somebody coming trying to help you. Somebody's coming trying to do something. And dysfunction say, they don't want your help. They don't need your help. And so people don't see it. Because dysfunction is saying you're full, you got it. Dysfunction is telling you I don't need help. Dysfunction is telling you, good morning, Kelly. Dysfunction is telling you that I got this. So when people try to come help you, pride tells you you don't need help. But clearly you're drowning. Pride tells you that. That is dysfunction. See, there's nothing wrong with being self-aware. But in doing that, you have to be careful that you don't operate in pride. Because I already been there. I know what it's like for people to have to need from people. And I don't need nothing from nobody. See that power? That's that power talking. And that power want to control people and events. But when you're self-aware, when you are aware of self, you are intentional about the design that is you. Who and what has intentionally created such chaos in your life that you are no longer aware of self? Most of us have never been aware of self because the dysfunction, remember, was passed down from our mamas who got it from their mama and them, who got it from their mama and them, or our daddies, and they got it from their daddies and them. So we really are unaware of self because we have been molded again by those other pillars: family, friends, peers, where we live at, so economically and socially, right? All these things have conditioned us to create. Remember, there's a real you, an ideal you, and an ought to be you, right? Most of us don't want to focus on the real us because self-awareness makes you focus on the real you, makes you focus on you. Why do I want to blame somebody else for my actions? Self-awareness gives you the ability to gain power over you. That's empowerment. As a matter of fact, the definition say when you give somebody else, like when you give someone control over their life and they claim their rights. That's empowerment. So if I'm going somewhere, I don't care if you going to church. If I got to come to the pastor for everything, you're not teaching me empowerment. You just want power. I don't care. If I can't pick a job without coming to you, you just want power and control. And I don't know me. And I got a problem with that. If I'm at work and I can't get promoted into these are this, I done went to school, done all these things, and you still trying to tell me I'm not good enough? That's you trying to control me. The greatest manipulator is money. Oh, that thing is crafty because it'll cause you to sell out because you don't even realize character of self because you fear the lack. Most people who are like that, they fear the lack because we know what it's like not to have. You have to, me and my mama lived in a hotel for almost a year. I know what it's like not to have a stove. Do you understand? I know what it's like to live in a home with no light and no water. I know what it's like to open a refrigerator and there is no food. I know what that's like. So what starts to happen is dysfunction build this thing up inside of you. Well, I got to have more and more and more and more and more because I know what it's like not to have. So now you've created another issue, debt. Because I know, so I'm trying to consume everything because I'm unaware of self. I know what that feels like to not have the nice clothes and not be able to get my hair done and not be able to do all this stuff that I believe is important because when I wasn't able to do it, people picked at me about it because they control you. If you always trying to do something to prove other people wrong, they got you, boo-boo. They got power over you. Just go and accept it. That's self-awareness. Let me go on and accept it that they still got power over me. If you still angry about stuff that happened to you when you was 5, now granted, I'm not saying that stuff go away. It don't go away, and it don't go away that fast. But if you keep allowing it to make you slip into this crazy character, if it makes you keep going back to this tainted, dysfunctional behavior, it got you, boo-boo. What I need you to do is acknowledge it is me. Accept that is me. Embrace that is me and evolve. If you don't acknowledge that is you, because you grown now, if you don't accept the gift of the truth that is you, if you don't embrace that is you, then you can't evolve. That you got to do it. You can't do one. People like, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge it, but I'm not going to accept it. You sound crazy. Because if you acknowledge it, then that means that it's factual. But I'm not going to accept it. Well, you're not going to evolve. You're just going to be sitting here allowing life to create situations that you find yourself in every day. How long are we going to sit and allow denial to control our destiny? How long are you going to allow denial to control your purpose? Remember, dysfunction, if you operate in dysfunction, you are not operating in your purpose because purpose is function. Self-awareness gets you to your purpose. And stop saying you're trying to find your purpose because you're not trying to find your purpose. You just simply need to walk in your purpose. You were born in purpose. That's a whole nother topic. You were born in purpose. You're not trying to find nothing. You just need to walk in it. The hell I went through in my life, I was already walking in my purpose to get me here. It don't seem like that when I'm in it. Being violated and molested, that's me walking in my purpose? Wait a minute. Growing up in an abusive household, that's me walking in my purpose? Wanting to kill myself, that's me walking in my purpose? Having low self-esteem, that's me walking in my purpose? Yes, because it empowered me to empower you. Because it taught me how to control my life and gain my rights, being stronger and more confident. The confidence came in the survival that it did not kill me. The confidence came in the fact that I was able to have an honest discussion with myself and realize that if I didn't die from it, I refused to die in it. If it did not kill me while I was there, I'm not going to allow it to kill me because I'm oppressed by the memories of it. Some of us didn't die in the actual act of the thing that of the injury and the illness. We are dying in the remembrance of the injuries of the illness because we are unaware of self. I made it through the molestation. I made it through the violation. I made it through the abuse. I made it through the bullying. How dare I get that far and die because of the memories that I have locked myself in prison, and I'm only seeing what I see through bars, and people only come and visit me when they can. They don't understand the imprisonment, the confinement that my mind is wrapped around. So all they can go by is my character. Why survive the actual act and then die because you don't know how to free yourself, because you are unaware of self. This has to be intentional. Nobody can make you want to do it. I can't make you want to, but I can show you how to. That's all I'm obligated to do. Empowerment is about you gaining control over you, not you gaining control over somebody else, not you gaining control, not you prove. No, it's about you being intentional in your purpose. It's about you being intentional in your conversation. Stop speaking so negatively over you. You've allowed that situation to confine you that you are not aware of self. And when I say self, you don't know your value. You don't know your worth. You have no clue about who you are. Sometimes you got to deviate from the pattern. Deviate from it. I tell y'all, I like reading the Apocrypha. I like reading different books and stuff, which is like attached to the Bible and stuff. And this thing I always go back to, the Gospel of Thomas. Bro was like, listen, when you know who you are as the children of the Father, then you will be known. Until then, you are in poverty and you are the poverty. What do you mean, Tisha? If I don't know my value, I'm a forever lack in education. I'm a forever lack in finances. I'm a always come up at the end because I don't know my worth. I don't know my value. I don't know who I am. I don't know my name. I keep operating like a stepchild. I keep operating like a slave because that's where I've been conditioned. But when you operate like a child, when you know who you are, there's a difference. When you understand who you are, when you know your purpose and you're walking in it, even if you ain't sure how it's going to go, walk in your purpose because it builds wealth. It identifies wealth. When you have self-awareness, when you are aware of self, it creates a value that nobody can take from you because that is rare. It's rare to find somebody who authentically is aware of self, because when you are aware of self, it makes you correct those things that are dysfunctional. It makes you. But because you're choosing, because some of you, this is a choice. You too, now some of you may not have known, but now you're aware of it. So you can, as a matter of fact, you'll come through it a lot quicker. People don't believe that. Like, have you ever watched like weight loss programs, and the heavier you are, the quicker you lose the weight? It drops faster for you versus somebody who's not, because you piled on so much unnecessary things. Remember, that virus just took over your whole body. So when you become quickly aware, when you become aware of self, it begins to die down because you learn how to control the cravings for the dysfunctional behavior. But if nobody ever told you, you're not gonna know. You're being told today. You want to stop walking in a poverty man's mindset? Become aware of self. What controls you? What got power over you? Because that's the problem. Some of y'all don't know what got your power. Some of y'all don't know what's over you. Some of you don't have a clue because you don't know who you are. You're not aware of self. You're not intentional. I need you to be intentional. Why? Why do we need to be intentional? So you could gain control over your life and your rights. And actually it says, and claim your rights. You keep walking around here like slaves, not even knowing that you are royalty. You don't know that because you've been conditioned to believe the latter. You've been conditioned to believe a lie. You've been conditioned to believe the dysfunction. So dysfunction erases your wealth. This is what I'll say. Dysfunction tries to erase your wealth. Dysfunction crafts what it feels you should be. So how does that happen? When people start putting statistics on stuff. Statistics said that I'm supposed to be in an abusive relationship. That's what the statistics say. So somebody already speaking how my life supposed to go. Let me show you about this power now. Statistics say that, well, my daddy beat my mama, so clearly I'm supposed to be in an abusive relationship. That's what statistics. So somebody is writing. They're already crafting my destiny. Statistics said that I'm supposed to have a child at 12 or 10 because my mama had me at 13. Well, she had me at 14, got pregnant at 13. So yes, so I'm going to craft now because I'm telling you what. So I'm conditioning you to failure. So statistics says since I got a learning disability and my mama didn't finish high school, neither did my daddy, and my grandma didn't go to high school, and I don't know about my other aunties and them, but I don't even know if they even graduated. They might have, but they never went to college. So statistics say that's going to be me. And then statistics put a number on how successful I could possibly be out of that situation. So now somebody has decided they're going to craft my purpose. Statistics say, well, you grew up in the projects, baby. This is it. Statistics say, well, since everybody you know sold drugs, you gonna sell drugs. And if you don't, this is the likelihood you're gonna make it out. Statistics says, since you were born on this side of the tracks, then your destiny has already been written for you. And so we've been conditioned to believe a lie. We've been conditioned to believe the failure. We automatically go to the negative when it don't go the way we want it to go. I tried to tell her, I already knew it wasn't going to work. You know why you keep taking losses? Because you live life as a situation and not as a journey. I told y'all last week, we not living life. We're not taking losses. We taking lessons. Because in lessons is the empowerment. In lessons is the self-awareness. In lessons is where you self-reflect. In lessons is where you learn how to become stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and your rights. Those are lessons. When you take losses, it's because you you find yourself in a situation because you are not able to control yourself. You are unaware of self. You allowed something to push you so far close to the edge that your decision in that moment started to craft a destiny that you deep down believe you was already going to get anyways. Situations can happen in life. That's life. But what I will not allow it to do is hinder my purpose and block my destiny. That ain't gonna happen. So at some point, you gotta back that thing up. Remember, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember anymore. We were like, I can, I will, it's already done. Y'all remember that? I can, I will, it's already done. Well, you can't do none of that if you are unaware of self. Yesterday, I spoke to a potential client and he was telling me what he needed and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, we need to focus on dysfunction. He was like, well, to be honest, I don't have no dysfunction. See, clearly he is unaware of self. As he was speaking, I realized he believed that he was perfect. And I started to laugh to myself. And I was like, okay. And then as I kept talking to him, he was like, well, you know what? Maybe that's the problem. Bing. I didn't have to yell. I didn't have to scream. I didn't have to belittle him. See, when you are equipped to empower people, the tools that the person need in that moment, they just manifest. Because I'm walking in my purpose. Some of you want to hide from that. You want to hide from the trauma. You want to hide from the stuff that you've been through. But you don't realize if it did not kill you, that was a reason. It did not kill you. Because it's somebody else that's going to need the equipment. It bothers me so bad when people look back on their past and they be like, oh my God, I wish I could change. I don't want to change nothing in my past. Because if I change whatever happened in my past, I would not have met so many of you. I would not have possibly met my husband. I may not have had my children. If I had altered one thing, remember, you got to be careful of the craft. Your thoughts can craft a thing. I'm going to take the test, but I ain't going to pass. Well, then don't even take the test because you already said you ain't going to pass. Thank you, Miss Janet. Like, how far are you going to dive into this thing? There are some people who have been here all 17 days at 6 a.m. And let me tell you something. Ain't no need of me keep doing this. They not going to apply the tools. Why you sitting here listening to me if you're not going to apply the tools? I'm giving it to you for free. I am literally dropping the seeds. So remember, one plant, one water. But the Father going to get that increase, right? So you have to be intentional. Get from back here like this. Stop only having an hour of freedom. I can't come visit you until I talk to you behind the glass. Dysfunction keeps you imprisoned. It keeps you connected to something that's not productive. Some of y'all are so afraid of freedom. Remember, I told you people been locked up so long that they rather just stay in confinement because freedom scares them, because you've been conditioned to believe a lie, because you are unaware of self. Self-awareness has to be intentional. I had to say, Tisha, girl, you got a nasty attitude. Now, denial was like, well, I'm like that because see, they told me this, they told me that. Remember, now I'm trying to outline my statistics as to why my attitude bad, as to why I act like I act. Now, for me to do this, I gotta go all the way back to when I was like before I was born. Let's try that. I was born in dysfunction. I was born in a very ugly situation. My mother was 13 when she got pregnant with me. My daddy was 18 when she got pregnant with me. Now, my mama lied about her age, so he didn't know that she was that young, right? So that I came through a dysfunctional. My start was dysfunctional. My mama still had to go to church and nobody could talk to her. Dysfunctional. She had to sit at the back of the church. Dysfunctional. My entry was dysfunctional. The day my mama gave birth to me, my daddy wasn't there. My grandma was there. Dysfunctional. The mental abuse and physical abuse that my father was already giving to my mama, I was born into dysfunction. There go the statistics. There go the statistics. Oh, we about to write her off. My mama did the best she could, but my daddy was still beating her. Dysfunctional. Statistics writing on me. Teach you gonna be in a dysfunctional relationship. Teach you gonna be in an abusive relationship. Because statistics say dysfunctional. There are times I have often wondered, as bad as my daddy was, right? And this ain't what my mama told me. These were things I saw with my own eyes. My love for my dad was magnified because of my mama. See, my mama went through dysfunction in her life. My grandmother went through dysfunction in her life. My aunties went through dysfunction in their life. But because I started to learn how to see my grandmother as a victorious woman who could not read, did not go to nobody's school, but she owns her home. Some of you can't say that right now, and you got 7 degrees. You done complete the school umpteen time. You have nothing. My grandmother would preach sermons, but my grandmother cannot read. And that ain't me exaggerating, but can preach. I mean, like, say the scripture because she had memorized them. So when I stopped looking at my lineage as a bunch of dysfunctional women, and I started to become self-aware that these characteristics didn't just come out of nowhere. They came from somewhere. How did I survive? You know how y'all be like, I'm gonna be the first one in my generation to go to college. I'm a first time. My mom and dad didn't do. No, what did your mom and dad and them really do? Because see, my mama taught me how to survive. She taught me how to come out of something. She taught me how to go beyond what I see. So when I think of my daddy, the first place I go to is never negative. Because my mama was able to highlight the positive. And that ain't easy to do when your man crazy. Okay, that's not an easy thing to do. She made sure that she didn't spew her hate for him, and she had every right to hate him, okay? She didn't let it seep over into me concerning my daddy. That's how you build other little prisons of dysfunction, your mouth. When she got away and she had to literally trick him to her freedom. Nah, that was not easy. So, because he didn't read paperwork, he didn't realize they was getting a divorce, okay? Blessings. I love my mama. She was wise. But somebody else will look at her and say, well, why she ain't get out fast enough? Well, why you stealing your stuff? See, self-awareness, check shit. Before you open your mouth about somebody else's decisions and choices, ask yourself why you're doing what it is that you're doing. That's self-awareness. Self-awareness is self-check. I mean, God, she just messing with any everybody. You do it too. She just open about hers. You pretend yours are relationships. They're not. But okay. When you become self-aware, you check your mouth. Now, I'm going to just shut up. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm going to mind my business. Like Kermit, sipping that tea. Mind your business. That's self-awareness. Self-awareness keeps you from being judgmental. It teaches you to remove the judgment, not just of other people, but of self. Because sometimes when you lash out, it's because you're preparing for them to launch at you. Because again, you've been conditioned. When people wanted to correct me, oh yeah, that ain't about to ever happen. Nah, you just being mean. You trying to control me. Because again, what I had grew up in. But how long am I going to use that as a lie to be a nice, nasty person? You can't do that. That's not cute at all. So, guys, because this is so good. Like, I literally can keep going. And I had notes, and I haven't even looked at them. I got notes on my phone. I didn't even look at them. But I want you guys to be intentional in the awareness of self the rest of this week. Be intentional about the words that come out your mouth over you, over your family, over your seeds. That's why I hate when people call their kids crazy. Keep on, because it's going to mean, because you're crafting it with your words. Remember, words have power. We give them life. Words have life. We give them power. Remember, dysfunction just need a living host. Dysfunction just need that one little cell that they can feel weak, then they attach to it. And before you know it, your whole body has been infested with dysfunction. Your mouth is dysfunctional, your eyes dysfunctional, your ears dysfunctional, your nose dysfunctional, your hands dysfunctional, your feet dysfunctional. Everything about you is dysfunctional. What you mean, Tisha, my feet? Because places you going you should not go, your feet dysfunctional. Things you're touching, you should not be touching, your hands dysfunctional. Things you're saying, you should not be saying, your mouth dysfunctional. Things you see that you should not be seeing. Because some of y'all, dysfunction will mess up your eyes. You talking to somebody who wear glasses. I know what I'm talking about. Dysfunction will mess up your eyesight. I know what I saw. No, you don't. Because it's infected with dysfunction. That ain't even what you saw. I know what I heard. No, you don't. Because it's infected with dysfunction. No, 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 no. Because self-awareness will check you. Self-awareness would be like, hush, because you don't even know if that's what they said. You don't even know if that's what they meant. Because you can hear and still not hear. Self-awareness gives you the empowerment of self, self-control. Can you rely on yourself to be truthful to yourself? Remember, acceptance is the second pillar. Acceptance of the gift of the truth. The truth is you infested with dysfunction. Now, how are you going to get rid of the virus? So you've been working on getting rid of the virus. We've been doing natural remedies because can't nobody do this for you. Ain't no vaccine for this. Okay? There is none. You got to choose to stop being a living host to the virus. I told y'all, first of all, viruses can't live outside the body. There's only a few, okay? There is only a few that can live in a dead host. And only people that's going to get infected by it is those that have direct contact. When I tell y'all I did my research about viruses, because you have to be self-aware. You have to be aware of self. So those that have direct contact are the only ones that can actually be infected by something that is dead. So if your infestation took place, especially when it's like molestation, violation and stuff like that, real mental torment, that's how the virus can still affect you when the person is dead. There are certain viruses that can live inside a dead host, but dysfunction is not one of them. It's just not. Don't even worry about it. So how do I kill this dysfunction? You become aware of self. It starts with you. It's you not blaming nobody else. It's you being truthful to yourself. It's you speaking awareness to you. It's even you speaking positive over yourself. It's you controlling the thoughts that you have about yourself. It's you controlling the eyesight that you see concerning yourself. It's you taking ears and cleaning them out about you, what you hear about self. It's how you embrace self. Mindset ain't about nobody else. Anybody who's been on here since we started this thing 17 days ago will tell you the whole purpose of mindset is you understanding you. I can't make you want to, but I sure can show you how to. That's all I know how to do. That's it. Y'all, like, and it's so cute. Let me tell you why. Because I want you guys to get that I actually study this stuff. That's why I'm able to articulate it to such a point, because I don't want to tell you something that's not true. Because then I'm just creating other dysfunctions. Let me tell you about leadership. Because some of y'all under some dysfunctional leadership. Your pastor dysfunctional, your boss dysfunctional, your husband dysfunctional, mama and them dysfunctional, the teacher who teaching you dysfunctional. You got to understand, everybody, let me tell you, 100% of everything and everybody has operated or is operating in dysfunction, right? So what happens when leadership in your life is dysfunctional? That's how cycles are created. Because a leader can look successful in the beginning. We going, right? Your pastor got a vision and a plan and everything. And then it get to a point and then it just die off. And because you want power and not empowerment, you figure out how to manipulate and craft the outcome to explain why you did not succeed in the task at hand. But true leadership self-reflects. True leadership corrects its mouth before it said. That's how you got to check your thoughts, because your thoughts going, hey, don't say that. Don't say that. Now, sometimes this and this, they not friends. They not listening. Because your mind be like, you shouldn't say it. Your mouth be like, let's say it. And it's already out. It's already done. There are things I heard myself say, Tisha, you shouldn't say. And my mouth was like, too late. And I said it. And I honestly didn't care. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Oh, I'm sorry. Self-awareness, it makes you accountable to you. It's not for you to be trying to correct nobody else. Self-awareness is all about you being aware of self. So I'm going to give y'all these definitions, right, of self-awareness. If you can write it down, however you want to do it. Having self-aware is having conscious knowledge of one's own character and feelings. Because we are such an emotional people. I don't feel like she liked me. She probably don't even really know you. And your character probably so nasty, that's why you feel like she don't like you. But the truth of the matter is, when most people say that, that's because you don't like them. That's because you don't like yourself and you don't think nobody else like you. When you like yourself, you don't focus on negative people. That's self-awareness. I'm trying to tell you. Self-awareness is conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. Right? So self-aware was character and feelings. Self-awareness, that takes you to one's own characters, feelings, motives, and desires. What is your motive behind connecting with that person? What is your motive behind doing this? Because I hate people who always say, I'm always giving, and when I want something, nobody can give it back. Then what you giving it for? If you keep a calculation, then why are you giving? I'm a friend to everybody else, and ain't nobody a friend to me. Baby, you need to be really self-aware, because that's pride talking through you. It don't make your statement false, but I'm trying to tell you that's pride, and people don't even want your help because they got to hear how you do for them, and they don't do for you. The problem is you keep trying to expect people who are dysfunctional as you to pour into you. If they pour into you, it's only going to be dysfunction. Self-awareness tells you, you know what? I'm requiring people who are ill and sick to pour into me. Does that make any sense? No, it don't. So stop doing that. My circle is so crafted, so different. It's really neat, right? I know that there are those in my circle that I'm just going to pour into them. They're not going to be able to fully pour back into me. But when they operate in their purpose, they give me exactly what I need. But when I need somebody to pour, that person has to be like here. Because if we all right here, we just sharing stuff. That's how dysfunction start to spread. So when I hear women, especially black women, oh honey, you got to be it all. You got to be the mama and the daddy. See, you already dysfunctional. I ain't gonna never be able to be my son's father. What I will be is their mama, and I could be the best mama. They got a daddy. My mama never tried to be my mama and my daddy. That's dysfunction, telling you can house two positions. One you were not built to do. Be a mama, and that's it. Oh, honey, you can handle it. No, I can't. Leave me alone. That's why some of you keep wearing the weight. Remember, we talked about the SMART goals and it's measurable. The weight is breaking you down because you are unaware that you're trying to run, you're trying to be everything. You can't do that. You're going to kill yourself. What did we talk about earlier? If what I was in didn't kill me, why allow the emotions and the things of it weigh me down and then I die? I don't die in the actual situation. I die from the memories of it. I self-sabotage. I kill myself emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. This is all part of transformation, guys. A death has to take place. So intention, what one tends to do or bring about. So what is your intent? You know how some of y'all say, I'm just straightforward and I'm going to get to the point. But what's your intent? What are you trying to bring about? Are you trying to prove you right? See, that's how self-awareness check you. You know, y'all see those memes and stuff on Facebook when people be like, have you ever typed something and then you deleted it because you was like, that's self-awareness. I don't even want one gonna come with it. Because I have got rid of the call people and hung up. Self-awareness was like, girl, don't do it. Just hang up the phone. Because my intent, what is me confronting this or saying this gonna bring about? Because some of y'all confront stuff and it just manifests more of dysfunction. Because again, you don't believe you dysfunctional, right? And this was kind of neat because intention is the subject for which a prayer or mass act is offered. And I was like, mass, you know, people go to mass. I think that's when all the people, Catholic people go to church and they all pray together. I think that's what mass is, right? Right? And prayer as an act is offered. And I was like, wait, intention? Yeah. You know why that is intention? Because a prayer is specific. I'm so excited. So when I speak a thing, be intentional. Because that's what you're doing. When you got to realize what prayer is. Prayer is me verbally stating a thing. And I want what I've stated to come back full fold. So if I'm intentional in what I articulate, sometimes your prayers can be thoughts. If I am intentional in what I think, it will manifest. The question is, what are you trying to bring about in your prayer, in your verbiage? What are you trying to articulate? Intentional is done by intent or design. So either I'm doing what I was intended to do, or I'm doing what I was crafted to do. And the thing is, it's just all about purpose, function, and dysfunction. So today and the rest of this week, y'all, I want y'all to be self-aware, aware of self. Be intentional. What are you trying to bring about? And when you can answer these questions, what is this going to benefit me? How is this going to benefit me? What are my motives? What is my character? What am I connected to? Am I intentional in my daily task? Me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to hang out with y'all at 6, that's intentional. Latisha, what are you trying to bring about? Empowerment. I'm not trying to craft anything. Power means you want to control people. I don't want to control y'all. That's too much work. That means I got to be held accountable to y'all because I'm trying to control what y'all do. I don't want to do that. No, ma'am. I want you to be empowered. So you are stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and claiming your rights. That's empowerment. And I'm going to drill that in y'all so y'all can start noticing when people just want power over you or if they're trying to empower you. Because there is a difference. Empowerment is all about you. Power is about them. There is a difference. So until in the morning, because it's really kind of funny because intentional was supposed to be for tomorrow. right? But they went hand in hand this morning while I was studying. So we put them together. So tomorrow we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about, and we'll see in the morning. I love you guys. Thank you again for tuning in and hanging out with me. I want you guys to be aware of self. I want you to be self-aware. I want you to be intentional. I want you to ask yourself, what am I bringing about this? What am I speaking? We don't want people around here crafting stuff. Okay? Self-awareness brings about empowerment, and empowerment kills the virus of dysfunction. So I love all of you guys. Thank you, Don. I thank you guys. Hey, Teresa, good morning. I thank you guys. Hey, Veronica. I love all of you guys for your continued support. Oh, guys, yes, before I forget, Veronica's website is veronicascurry.com, and she has journals. Y'all know I'm all about promoting. Y'all know that's what I'm going to do. And we still waiting on Miss Janet. She's still working on her book. You welcome, Miss Janet. So you guys, listen. We gonna make it a great day. You hear me? So you want something to write in, you want a journal, you want affirmation. She has journals. I forgot to get the price. Maybe she could put it in the comments for me, but it's at veronicascurry.com. So you can start writing this stuff down. I got journals everywhere, but I believe if I'm gonna support somebody, why not support local? Our sister been on, listen, Veronica has been on every live that I've done. Do you hear me? That's what we got to support each other. Miss Janet on everything. We just waiting on Miss Janet to finish this book. We waiting on Miss Susan to get all this stuff together because she got to empower other people. Y'all don't understand. I'm so excited. Yesterday, you guys you saw my post, maybe you didn't, that I did my first executive business meeting with 6 Nigerian men who own a business in Nigeria. Let me tell y'all something. When you're intentional, what is it that you're going to bring about? That's what I want y'all to see. So be intentional. Be self-aware, because people want to know your character. And you don't want them to know the dysfunctional character. You want them to know your purposeful character. So until in the morning, I love y'all. They're $10. Okay, that's not bad. The journals are $10, guys. veronicascurry.com. I'm telling y'all. Because I like to write. So if I'm going to before I go in CVS or Publix or Walmart and Ross and buy these things, and I don't know, I'll support local. I already got mine. Yep. Thank you, Veronica. I already got mine. And I mean, she liked to write. I like to talk. She liked to write. I'm trying to tell you. So until tomorrow, guys, I love y'all. Y'all be great. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. We're still waiting on Miss Janet to finish her book. Miss Susan, because I tell y'all, Miss Susan going to be around here empowering people. You hear me? Watch what I tell you. So I love all of y'all for being dedicated. Thank you, Kevin, for waking up with me at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Making sure I'm together. Oh, and Kelly Graham was on here, and she keeps me dressed. And so we support local. And it's called Curvature. So again, I love you guys. Until next time, make it a great day. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Make it a great day. You're welcome, Keita.